don't plan on making any big changes, but I do have some big goals. Hi everybody, welcome back to Bustling Home. Something about going from December to January and switching to a new calendar seems like a good time to review these things. The homestead is quiet, at least since we don't have livestock, it's quiet. School is winding down for the Christmas season, and it's generally just a more peaceful time in our lives. Without further ado, let's get into the goals. I'm splitting my goals this year into 4 categories. Personal and professional, which are things that are only for me, or that only involve me. Homeschooling, which is things I do with the kids. Homemaking, taking care of our home. And homesteading, which of course is livestock, gardens, feeding our family. First, personal goals. These don't seem to change too much every year. I always want to keep up about 3 to 5 workouts per week. It used to be more like 6 or 7 workouts per week before I had kids, but let's get back to reality here where I don't have 20 hours a week to work out. So 3 to 5 workouts per week besides practicing jiu-jitsu. I've been doing pretty well with that, so this is mostly continuing what I've been doing. We would like to have more kids, so I would like to complete a pregnancy in 2021 with a healthy baby, maybe 2 healthy babies, given my history. But I want to complete a pregnancy. I would like to have more kids, and I don't want to miscarry anymore, of course. So I don't know if that can be considered a goal, but it's a hope I have. I would like to, by the end of 2021, generate some side income. We do fine on Jeff's job right now, but with all of the expenses of starting up a homestead and moving to a new house and updating the house with some very necessary expenses like replacing the oil furnaces that are blowing soot all over the house, it's been expensive. And we just need to pay off some of this stuff before Jeff can retire. And he's turning 60 at the end of 2020, so retirement's not too far off. I would like to earn some money to contribute to paying down these expenses and make us a little bit more comfortable where we are financially. To that end, I want to make sure that I have some focused time working on this channel and our secondary channel, Taiso, which is conditioning for martial artists. That's not to say it's only for martial artists, but it was designed originally for martial artists. It can actually be used for anybody to protect your body from injury with anything active you do. And you may not know this, but we invested in residential real estate a few years ago, so we are managing that on the side of everything else. We have to deal with things like broken stoves, leaking water heaters, that sort of thing. And I would like to streamline the management of our business better so that we know that we are on top of the finances and we have a good workflow. When there's a problem, we can get it fixed quickly and efficiently for our tenants. Next up, let's talk about goals around the home. A big one for me is meal planning. I have tried meal planning a few times, but since I don't do all the cooking, sometimes it doesn't work out so well. Quite often it doesn't work out so well, actually. Jeff has a much larger repertoire of things that he can cook just offhand. Usually, I end up being the one watching the kids while he goes and cooks in the kitchen because he's faster at it, and I am more accustomed to keeping track of 6 little kids than he is, since obviously I spend all day doing that. But I would really like to have a meal plan that I can cycle through breakfast in the morning, and I know that I have all the materials to feed the kids a variety of breakfasts throughout the week. Probably cycle through lunches too, and either have them made ahead of time or know that I have the materials to make a quick and easy lunch for them. Then I can be a little bit more creative with dinners, but I would like to have them planned ahead of time so we can either cook them ahead of time or at least know that we have the supplies to make the meals. And we know that if we're going to have, say, pulled pork for something, we put the pork in the slow cooker in the morning. It's just this basic stuff that I have had a really hard time getting a handle on. Let me know what you struggle with is in home management. What's your biggest struggle? Give me a little comfort here. I also have a hard time keeping up with cleaning the house because this house is almost 7,000 square feet. I have no professional cleaning help and all of my kids are 5 and under. The only way that they help with cleaning is if I sit there with them and do it with them. That means that I'm essentially managing most of the cleaning myself. Because Jeff doesn't have time for this between helping manage the real estate business and working out for his own health and working a full-time, sometimes more, job, and then also managing the homestead during the summer. He just does not have much time for cleaning. To improve on that, I would like to purge our house. Just anything that we don't need, get rid of it. Make it that when I go to clean something, I don't have to pick up, I don't have to rearrange. If something is sitting out, I know exactly where it goes. I can put it away without much second thought. Right now, we have way too much stuff. You wouldn't think that that could happen, that we would have a cluttered house when we have 7,000 square feet, but I assure you it can, and it has happened. So that is one of my goals for 2021, is to just simplify. Get rid of stuff. Anything we don't need, it can go. My third goal for the home is, instead of hiring somebody to fix every little thing that goes wrong with the house, learn how to do some of it. This is one that's a little bit personal for me because my dad was really good at this stuff. I mean, if he could have made a few copies of himself, he probably could have built a house by himself. He can do plumbing, he could do electricity, he could do construction. He could do all of it. He knew, I don't know how he knew, but he knew it. He knew how to do all of it, and he did it well. Unfortunately, he died when I was 25. Before I left for college, academics were my focus because that's what you're supposed to do, is do well in school, go to college, and become a successful professional. You see how that worked out. I'm staying home with a bunch of kids, which I'm fine with. That's the choice I've made, and I'm happy with it. But I wasn't prepared to take care of a house. And I missed the opportunity to ask my dad. So now I am left trying to figure it out on my own, and maybe with some friends' help if I can find some skilled friends that have the time and willingness to help me learn it. So some of the things that I would like to learn are replacing outlets, replacing switches, replacing light fixtures, fixing small plumbing leaks, like if the drain of a sink leaks, replacing faucets. I'm working on patching some drywall, which I have a basic idea of how to do that, but I haven't really done it. It's one of those things where I read about it and it makes sense, so I think I know how to do it, but we'll see how that actually works out. It might look like I did it, but that's okay. I'm learning, right? Drywall is pretty forgiving. Anyhow, not only would it be simpler to be able to just do it myself so that we can get it done and not wait for a contractor, it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper in the long term. Once Jeff retires, he's going to be on a fixed income, and that income will be lower than the income he has now. Our kids are not getting less hungry, they're not getting less expensive. So anything that we can save money doing, we should. Not to mention, I just like the idea of being more self-reliant rather than having to rely on professionals to do everything. Even the stupid, simple little things like fixing an outlet. For homeschooling, I want to try to have a more regular homeschool schedule. I've been really bad about that. I mean, I'm good at organizing, but I'm not very good at sticking to a schedule. I've always kind of found schedules restrictive. But if I'm going to do homeschooling with my kids the way I want to, I'm going to have some sort of a schedule with them and with me too. Otherwise, I'm not going to be prepared when we do schooling. I would also like to incorporate more read-alouds. I don't really like reading aloud, so read-alouds might more take the form of audiobooks to give my voice a rest. Because then I can sit and relax with the kids and listen to the story the same as they do. If you have a good source for audiobooks, let me know in the comments below. I need to find a good, not expensive source of high-quality audiobooks. In addition to having a more regular schedule, I would like to incorporate more subjects on a regular basis. The only one that I really do with them semi-regularly is reading. And that's not a bad thing at this point, because, in my opinion at least, that is the most important thing for them to learn right now. Because reading opens up everything else to them. Once they can read, they can learn about anything they want to. But I would also like to work a little bit on things like math with them. and work on some geography, because Rory in particular actually really likes maps and he likes geography. If my kids enjoy doing something like that, I really want to be able to provide them with a way to learn more about it. And I don't feel like I'm doing that right now. Our homesteading goals are fairly simple. We want to add chickens, we want to move the garden, and have the harvest be more efficient as far as we get more food per plant, which is probably going to mean a more sparsely planted garden and a little bit more thinking about that. We would like to add a shed barn type thing so that we can store the tractor and all of the farm implements in there, because that's taking up a lot of space in our garage right now. And possibly, if we can manage it, add sheep and maybe rabbits in addition to the poultry. I don't think we'll get to ducks or guineas this year. But by the end of 2021, I would like to be producing most of our own eggs and producing some of our own meat. Ideally, if we can manage it this year, I would love to have a few sheep and produce a little bit of our own milk and maybe make some cheese from that. I would treat it as somewhat of an educational experience, since I've never had livestock. I've never made cheese. I've never had farm milk. But I don't want to do it like we get 10 sheep and we jump in whole hog on this one thing. I think it would be much better if we start with a couple of sheep and we have a small experiment, sort of like our garden this year, where we weren't really committed to having a great outcome from it, but we started it and did it so that we had a learning experience. As long as we're not harming the animals, everything else can be a learning experience. So that is the goal with all of the livestock, is to learn from it this year and do better in 2022. So those are my goals for 2021. Let me know in the comments what some of your goals are. I'd love to hear from you what you're trying to do with your life. If you like talking about goals and hearing about what I'm planning for the next year, give me a thumbs up for this video. If you want to see more videos about homesteading, homeschooling, and homemaking, please subscribe to Bustling Home. I'd love to have you stick around. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.